Councilmember Mendoza.
Here.
Councilmember Tucker.
Here.
Councilmember Oviso Martinez.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado.
Here.
And Mayor Burnworth is absent for the record.
Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. Stacy, you want to lead us, please?
Begin. Republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any adjustments to the agenda?
That's right. Mayor Pro Tem, there's no adjustments to the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Morita. How about City Attorney? Anything to report out of closed session?
Yes, thank you. The council met in closed session and discussed real property negotiations regarding the old post office. Direction regarding price and terms was given to the negotiator, Dennis Morita. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Public comments. So at this time, there is a time limit of 3 minutes for anyone wishing to address the city council on these matters. So we do have public comments, so we're gonna go with Ernesto Paleo.
Vallejo, and I'm representing the Fifth Car Club in conjunction with my brother Joe Buzo. And we just want to thank you guys for the great time we had out there at the trunk or treat. Everybody, we made it a real success. A lot of thanks for Anthony and Nancy that were really helpful. And we raised about $1,500 that was donated to the Dancing for the Dream Foundation, and that's what we try to do every time we help that foundation. That's been our goal. So I hope that everybody's happy with the turnout. We were. It was a really nice time. But anyway, I thank you a lot for the whole city of Imperial. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. So we have additional public comments with Elizabeth Ansley. Please state your name for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Elizabeth Ansley. I spent 20 years serving in the United States Marine Corps and moved back to my hometown of Imperial upon retirement in the hopes of providing a safe and stable environment for my family in contrast to what I experienced in Afghanistan. On November 7th, I was sitting in my driveway with my dog Poppy in my lap, supervising my 3 children, ages 7, 4, and 3, while they played in our front yard. While we were enjoying our lives on our property, I turned and looked in the opposite direction and realized 2 dogs were loose, running towards us, and I was too late. I immediately feared for the safety of my children, and as I got up to grab them, I realized Poppy had fallen from my lap. By the time I reached down to grab her, the pit bull had chomped on her head and then bit into her midsection. I began striking the pit in an attempt to save Poppy. The pit bull lifted my dog up and was violently thrashing her small body from side to side. I ran into the garage to find a tool to fight the dog off, and I realized that my kids were still in immediate danger. So I grabbed my children and I ran. I turned to run inside. As I had turned, I had seen Poppy's intestines coming out. I ran the kids inside and ran back out to save my dog. In the seconds I was away, I returned to my pup with her rib cage on the outside of her body, parts of her liver in my driveway, and the pit bull staring me down before it turned and ran away. I have PTSD from when I served as a female engagement team leader in Marcia. In addition to nightmares, I have insomnia, anxiety, and depression. My decision to move here was to provide a safe environment where my children would grow up in a small and involved community where I could process the past 20 years of my life and heal. Not only have we been robbed of this opportunity, my children are having issues sleeping. They're crying in their dreams, jolting themselves awake, and we can't even step near our front door without my 4-year-old crying for us to get away or the doggy will eat you. Grief lives in our hearts, and fear lives in our home. And now that Imperial Animal Control authorized the release of the pit bull less than 24 hours after it brutally and violently mauled my pup to death by turning her insides out, they informed me that the pit didn't pose a threat to public safety. The dog is back in its home, with the only consequence being citations for being loose and unvaccinated. It didn't matter to animal control that Poppy is dead, or that it caused trauma to my children, or that the healing stage I was at, I'm having to start over, but without my best friend. In the sad aftermath of this, I'm requesting that the City of Imperial update its code to include automatic euthanization to an animal that results in the death of another animal by 2 bites in a 36-month period. If the city cannot do this, then perhaps it can include verbiage that would mandate quarantine at the Humane Society for 10 days instead of private residence, and that a professional animal behavioralist observe and assess if the canine is suitable for release during that quarantine, all of which should be paid for by the owner or have the option to relinquish said animal. None of this will bring Poppy back or remove the trauma this has caused, but I'm hoping we as a community can work with the city to ensure safety remains a priority.
Sorry for that, and Mr. Morita, can you please look into that? And Ms. Turner, please.
Certainly do so.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comments? Please step forward and state your name for the record, please.
Good evening, Pro Tem Mayor, council members, Peggy Price. Wow, that was a little emotional. But on the contrary, I want to acknowledge your police department. I went on a ride along since your last city council meeting, and I just wanted to share that the staff were very professional. In my observation, they were proactive, and I just wanted to share that with you. It was I rode with Officer, I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name, Shribola, maybe. And present though before we went on the ride along was Sergeant Schaefer and also Officer Amaya and a new recruit. And so I just wanted to share that with you. It made me very proud. My husband retired from law enforcement, and to see this new generation and how they behaved and how professional they were, it made me very proud. And you should be proud of them as well. Thank you.
Very much for that. Really appreciate that. Any other public comments? Ma'am, please step forward and state your name for the record, please.
Phillips. Before I start, I want to thank you for your service and for what you did for our country. Right. Good evening. My name is Alyssa Phillips, and I'm a resident of Imperial. I am here to ask for assistance in preventing people from speeding excessively in my neighborhood. I grew up in Imperial and moved into our current home in 2019 when my husband completed his military contract. When we bought our home, we envisioned ourselves playing in our front yard with our children, but now we are in that future, and we don't allow our kids in our front yard due to people routinely going well over the speed limit in front of our house. We live on Smokewood Avenue near T.L. Wagner Elementary School, and people use our road as a bypass to avoid the numerous stop signs on Sandalwood Glen and Joshua Tree when going to and from the school. For 4 blocks, there is not a stop sign or speed bump, and people do an estimated 35 to 45 miles per hour on our road routinely. We are the only straight off of Ayton Road going to the school that does not have any speed bumps or stop signs there. There have been many times that my husband and I have nearly been hit pulling out of our driveway because we don't expect people to be driving as fast as they do. On more than one occasion, people have sped by at unsafe speeds when I was parked on the curb trying to get my children out of the car. I have been tailgated and passed when coming to and from my house. Not only does reckless driving affect my family and my neighbors on Smokewood, but there is also a school bus stop on the road putting students at risk every day. People walk their children to and from school on our street and have to be extra careful because of the drivers. I know we are not the first ones to complain about this issue. My neighbor brought this attention to City Council a few years ago, and I know that personally my mom called the city when I was a child growing up in the house that my husband and I now own. My husband and I have called the city multiple times. We have emailed every member of the City Council, and we did not get a reply. We have called the non-emergent police line and asked them to assist, and I do want to commend Imperial PD for listening to our concerns and patrolling before and after school on occasion. But they cannot be there every day. My neighbors and I would like to know what steps need to be taken to install deterrents such as speed bumps, crosswalks, or stop signs to encourage people to drive at more reasonable speeds and keep not only my children safe, but the kids waiting for the bus and walking to school safe as well. I want to thank you for your time tonight to present this issue, and I hope that we can resolve it. Thank you.
Thank you. So to add to that, I have been there on Smokewood before and stood there and watched it. And this is a conversation me and Mr. Morita have had about several areas within the city of Imperial. So we are definitely looking into it. And there is a plan right now with community development through the city manager's office and myself and the council. We are definitely looking at that. But I have been on that block of Smokewood and stood there and watched as the trucks come off Joshua Tree and racing down all the way to, what is it, Yucca? Yeah, I've sat there and watched it go around the bus, and I mean, as far as me stepping out in front of a car trying to get them to slow down and plow into another house, I'm not going to do that. But I mean, our police can't be everywhere.
No.
They try. We have tried different methods, stop signs, stop lights. The factor we have here is the human factor that we can't get them to slow down. When when people are standing there, and I think a lot of us in the audience have seen this, where the bus is standing there with its arm out and people going around it. There's nothing we can do. I mean, we can't have a cop with everything, but
I think a speed bump is really what we need there.
yeah. And please rest assured that we are looking into it, and this is something that is definitely on our radar right now. So thank you very much for bringing it up. Any other public comments? Yes, sir.
Evening, Council, Mayor Pro Tem Amparano. I'll be brief. I just wanted to provide a public comment today after the last meeting that you all had. This finance manager provided some comment regarding the Sky Ranch landscape and lighting maintenance district fees. It wouldn't be I wouldn't be up here if that landscaping was maintained. I want to thank the city for maintaining the landscaping on Ayton most recently over the past couple weeks. But that's the first time that the city's been out there in a long time, and I can count on one hand the number of times that the city's out there in a year probably in Sky Ranch fixing stuff. And so the big thing is that the residents of Sky Ranch pay into a fee. $220,000 a year is accumulated to provide landscaping and maintenance within Sky Ranch. And the finance director provided a comment that the account was $65,000 over for the previous year, which is unfortunate. But when you combine that with the $220 that's collected throughout the year, that's $280,000 that's supposed to be spent on landscaping within Sky Ranch, that I can probably guess isn't being spent in there. Maybe it's being spent on other things. That it'd be great to know what those are, because this is an approved use that you guys approve every year for landscaping and lighting. Maybe you can share with the residents of Sky Ranch what that money's being used for. I would have no issue with other parks receiving maintenance, upkeep, and that type of resource through that benefit that the Sky Ranch residents pay into. But I think it's just kind of something that we're kind of we're entitled to as a part of our property taxes being taken out on an annual basis. And so maybe looking into that and following up. I'm happy to sit down with Dennis. He's offered a couple times, and I do have everything. I've kept up with it since moving into Sky Ranch, and every year the budget is depleted, and there was a large dollar amount spent on the cinder block fence, and we've discussed that as well, which is perfectly fine. But there's some things that are tied to that should be kind of looked into for potential remedy, possible inclusion of the development on the other side of the fence for inclusion into the fee structure, considering that the residents of the development paid for the fence. So just a few things, and like I said, I'll follow up with Dennis, but I wanted to make sure I put it on the record and provided a comment for all of y'all.
Thank you. Other public comments? Okay. Seeing none, moving on to consent agenda. All items appearing on the consent agenda will be acted upon by the city council with one motion without discussion. Should any council member or any other person request that the item be considered separately, that item will be taken up at the time determined by the mayor. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion carries 4-0.
Moving on to action items, action item B1. We're gonna do with the selection of Imperial Middle School Mayor of the Day, Mr. Morita.
Yes, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and Council, in a, process that, we worked with the school solicited and obtained, upwards of 30 applications, to be mayor for the day. They forwarded to us, 3 of those applications, and so those applications are before you this evening, to, pick amongst the 3, to be mayor for the day. Uh, and, uh, and then once that happens, we'll make, arrangements to, for involvement in various things between, now and the next month or so. Uh, uh, Involvement in some upcoming, city activities, touring, potentially touring city facilities, ride-along, things like that. And so it's up to you folks at this point to, move the selection process forward. Difficult work.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so this item, thank you to the applicants. We really appreciate it. You guys did not make it easy. You guys made it a little difficult for us to choose, but, great ideas, great applications, great motivation. I mean, I wish I had the motivation when I was in that grade, but, that's a different story. The, with that, I think, we'll entertain a motion.
This is very tough. We went through all these applications and just the ideas that were brought forward to us, and wow, it is a very tough decision. Mayor Pro Tem, if I could, I think that some of my fellow council members, although we do have to select a mayor, we'd like to see if there's an opportunity to have all 3 participate. Maybe the other 2 as maybe a mayor pro tem or 2 council members, because that these essays and answers that were put forward were just outstanding, and that would be my vote.
I think that sounds like an excellent idea.
So,
do you think,
like
Ms.
Ms.
Beso?
Stacy mentioned, we will make a motion to approve, our mayor for the day and our other 2 applicants be council members.
We're gonna go with 1, mayor and 2 council members?
Correct. That is my motion.
That's your motion?
That is my motion.
I'll second that.
All right, so I got a motion and a second. And then, so Bo, how do we go about this? Do I say the name or do we vote and then? Okay. So the motion for the name that'll be mayor for the day would be suspense, right? And I hope I don't butcher the name. Emmy Myers? Congratulations. So with that, let's put this to vote.
I'll make a motion to approve Ms. Emmy Meyer as our mayor for a day, and our remaining 2 candidates, Sean and
Got the motion, got the second. Please vote.
we didn't have a second. Who's the second?
It was Tucker.
Okay, I couldn't hear.
Motion carries 4-0.
Madam Mayor, would you like to say anything? You can come forward if you like.
Can we actually get all 3
Yeah,
of you up here?
absolutely.
And,
Let's do that.
If we've got somebody, either myself or somebody with a camera that can take some pictures. OSDSU. I see that shirt over there.
Madam Mayor, would you like to say something? Mr. Councilmember? Yeah, come up here. You guys like to say anything?
I'd just like to thank you. I would just like to say thank you all for this opportunity to let any students or kids with a dream to become a part of any law faculty or law enforcement, or this opportunity for any kid would be a dream. So thank you all, and thank you for my family who have helped me come through this, and for all my friends who have helped supported me.
Thank you.
I just wanted to thank all of the council members to allow each of the students to be a part of, instead of choosing one, but allowing the other two to be council members with the mayor. Thank you.
Guys did an
Oh,
awesome
thank
job.
you. And once again, like I said, you guys made it very difficult, so I think this is a better route to go. You guys get to see all forms of government, help us with decisions that we gotta make up here. Sometimes tough, sometimes are good ones, but, I mean, these are things that have to happen to make our city move forward, and you guys taking that step to be in these positions really helps. So thank you guys very much for doing that for us. So, and our staff will be in contact with the parents and the school and let you guys get all the information. So thank you guys. All right. With that, moving on to item B2. Kristen Smith.
Yes, good evening, Council. The city met with Teamsters Local Union 542 on November 6th to discuss the proposed side letter agreement that would allow the city to pay the cost of DMV physicals for employees whose job requires them to maintain a Class A or Class B driver's license to perform their duties. Under the proposed agreement, the city will arrange for employees to attend their DMV physical with the city's occupational medicine provider and pay the cost of the exam. The city currently employs 32 employees who are required to maintain either a Class A or Class B license. DMV physicals are typically required every 2 years, and therefore the estimated fiscal impact of this agreement is $2,800 over the period of 2 years. At this time, I request your approval to sign the side letter agreement to implement this process with Teamsters employees. If you should have any questions, I am here to answer those.
Thank you. Any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Got a motion?
I'll second.
Second. Please vote.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. Item B3 with John Herrera. This is the quarterly budget update on for quarter ending September 30th, 2023. John, you on the line? John, you may be muted.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you now. John, you still there?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
You can hear me now? Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to go through these slides fairly quickly since all of this information is covered in the staff report. And so this is the quarterly budget for the first quarter of fiscal year 2024, which is for July, August, September of 2023. And are you able to see the PowerPoint there?
Yes, we can see that.
Okay, very good. So this update then, just to highlight quickly that the narrative out there in the social media and in the news outlets and so forth, as you're all aware, we're starting to hear more and more this turbulent economic times, uncertainty, and so forth. So it's very important that the city council is looking at the budget at least once every 3 months. And so the main focus of this quarterly update is that reminder that we are currently navigating the city's finances on a quarterly basis because of the conflicting economic data and the turbulent geopolitical and other news out there that can impact even the local government. This quarterly update addresses a number of different changes in the balance sheet to try to establish a stronger financial position, reviewing the city's purchasing policy, and continuing to provide, as I said, a quarterly report so that the quarterly budget serves like an advanced warning system to identify, as I said, leading economic indicators that would require us as staff to recommend changes in the budget. Bottom line is the city budget for fiscal year 2024 is on track. The only thing that we wanted to highlight is sales tax. City manager and I met with the HDL companies to go over our sales tax. We also went over property tax. Sales tax is a leading economic indicator. It's currently blinking yellow. There are some areas of concern, but we're not going to recommend anything to you in the budget until quarter number 2. And so that's the main point on this cover slide. The 7 items that we're requesting the city council to take action on this evening is, number 1, transferring the solid waste sanitation fund out of the general fund and putting it outside the general fund as an enterprise fund. Number 2, establishing an equipment and vehicle replacement fund. Number 3, to create an information technology fund, moving that department out of the general fund into its own fund. Creating a risk management fund. Number 5, creating a capital improvement program, a CIP fund, so we can start working on a 5-year CIP. Approve the attached resolution number 2023-57 that has a list of 4 or 5 minor items, adjustments in the budget line items. And lastly, to have the council review and approve the position control, the personnel budget position control at Q1. The only changes to the position control schedule that was approved by council on July 5th of 2023 is the request to reclassify 1 police corporal to make that position a police sergeant, and an addition of half of a FTE, full-time equivalent, school resource officer. Fiscal impacts from these items. There's 0 impact from the solid waste fund creation, 0 impact from the vehicle replacement fund, other than transferring cash from the general fund into this vehicle replacement fund for the future replacement of vehicles and equipment. 0 net impact from establishing this IT services fund, other than transferring $1 million out of the general fund and putting it into its own IT fund for the next 5-year IT infrastructure investments. Number 4, 0 net impact from transferring $1 million out of the general fund to establish a risk management fund for better accounting and financing of risks and future claims in the city. And lastly, number 5, 0 impact of establishing the CIP fund. As I said, number 6, there's a net impact from this resolution 2023-57, a net impact of increasing the budget in the general fund by $4,200. We currently have a budgetary net revenue, a positive number in the general fund of $8,500. So if we use up $4,200, we're left with about $4,300 budgetary fund net revenue. Number 7 is seen on the slide, as we just talked about, the reclassification of 2 positions. Number 8, the school resource officer has a cost annually of $55,000, but we are looking to only fund half of that at a cost of $55,000, but $27,500 of that SRO comes from COPS money that we have left over from an old COPS grant of 2017. Lastly, the fiscal impact at Q1 is $192,000 decline in sales tax revenues, but we would like to bring that up to the council during the Q2 budget report. Okay, after we transfer, if the council approves, $2 million out of the general fund into the equipment replacement fund, $1 million out of the general fund into the IT fund, and another $1 million out of the general fund into this risk management fund, there will be a $4 million general fund reserve in the general fund out of the total budget. This represents a 25% of annual budget emergency reserve. 25% represents basically 3 months of operating reserves in the general fund. The GFOA, Government Finance Officers Association, recommends at a minimum 2 months. So 25%, we believe, is still conservative and consistent, while at the same time keeping in mind that you've now fully funded separate funds that were just proposed for approval. The purchase order, briefly just want to talk about working with the city manager. We've gone back to the municipal code of the city of Imperial to refresh and reboot our purchasing policy so that we can make sure that we have more compliance with the purchase orders and the purchasing system by issuing a purchase order before the purchase is made. We are able to encumber in the budget the monies so that if you look at Q1 ending September 30th, we show you later in the report that basically on a cash flow basis, the general fund has $3.3 million in revenues, $3.3 million in expenditures. So on a cash flow basis, you know, we're in balance at Q1. I think we had a positive nominal cash flow about $16,000. But if we made purchases that were outstanding as of the end of September 30th, that's kind of like when you have an outstanding check. You write a check at the end of September 30th, that check is going to take a while to come around. That's how you can think of the encumbrances. That's why we want to make sure that all purchases get encumbered with a duly authorized purchase order so that our quarterly budget reports are more accurate. As I said, Article 9 of the Imperial Municipal Code specifically highlights Section 2.60. Purchase of material, supplies, equipment shall be made only by means of purchase orders. City manager may exempt up to $100. So really all purchase orders over $100 should be encumbered in the budget. That's being reviewed by the city manager to see what's more workable today compared to when this was established. Purchase orders encumber the budget. Everybody is familiar with that. And real quick, just highlight the three-way match in accounts payable. If you have a purchase order, accounts payable can do their job. She just matches the purchase order with a packing slip or receiver slip and the invoice, and then we can ensure that we're doing accurate accounts payable. A quick little overview of the general fund. If you look at fiscal year 2024, $3.3 million in revenues for the first quarter, $3.3 million in expenditures. So we had a positive net revenue of $16,000. I went into the accounting system for the previous 4 years, and we had negative revenue every one of those 4 years. And the only thing I can conclude is it's just delinquent accounting. I don't think we were that far off where we're having almost, you know, more than double the revenues. It's just that accounting cash receipts, instead of now we're posting cash receipts in the finance department on a daily basis. We want to know where we stand in the budget every single day, how much cash we have, and reconcile our bank rec really on a daily basis to maximize our investment earnings, among other things. But anyway, so I'm presenting the information directly from our accounting system for the first quarter. This is just July, August, September of the 5 fiscal years. And this is where we stand. Fund balance remains consistent at $8 million. Total pooled cash, almost $49 million. Not a whole lot there that changes, other than to say that the 5-year CIP budget is a primary tool that's going to help us to determine how long we can invest our money, whether it's for 6 months, 12 months, all the way up to 5 years if we're trying to maximize our investment earnings. Of course, right now, 2 years is the limit that will go out because interest rates actually go down. But that's another an item for another time when we bring back the investment policy. Enterprise funds. Just to highlight the fact that we have a positive net revenue of $49,000 first quarter for the water fund. Our outstanding bonds in the water fund is $10.6 million from two different bond issues. The sewer fund has $163,000 positive revenue, positive cash flow for first quarter. We have $15.3 million in total long-term bonds in the sewer fund. And then the cash remains fairly constant for the water and the wastewater fund. The community facilities districts, you'll see that they all have net revenue of negative. And the main reason why they're negative at Q1 is because we get most of our revenue after Q2 when the county of Imperial sends all the property taxes and special taxes and so forth. So that'll all be caught up in Q2, Q3. Lighting and landscape, Wildflower, you can see where we're expenditures and revenues, Wildflower, Paseo del Sol, and Sky Ranch. There is no outstanding bonded indebtedness for the lighting and landscape districts. We've talked about the pending accounting issues that we're still working on. It's been actually brought down a little bit. And conclusion, the city of Imperial the budget is fiscally sound. Our balance sheet is strong, but we need to remain alert, watching carefully the leading economic indicators like sales tax, the lagging economic indicators like property tax, and continue to provide the quarterly budget updates. The next one is due on January 17th. And lastly, thank you very much for the opportunity. I think that was 10 minutes. So thank you for allowing me to make the presentation.
Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Any questions? All right. So there is no questions. Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, and a motion. Second by Mendoza. Please vote. John, thank you very much for all that. Glad
Motion.
to hear.
Motion carries 4-0.
All right. With that, we'll move on to reports, to C1 department reports. Come on, Tony.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This Friday, for those of you who want to watch Barbie at Eager Park, it's kind of hard for me to even say that, but 6 to 9 p.m., come join us. Free popcorn, free cotton candy. We'll have other concessions on site for sale as well. And then again, December 8th, we'll have our light parade. Starts at 6 p.m. Come join us for that. And then the very next morning, we will have our Christmas in a Small Town, Snow Hill, live music, kids from Ben Holst coming to do some songs for us as well as some entertainment. And that is from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday morning. So come and join us for all that's coming up, and then we'll continue to update council and those watching us live on the different things that we have coming down the pipeline as well.
Very much for that. Any other reports?
Yes, this is Kristen. So I always appreciate Tony's reports, and it's always so fun. I also want to announce we have one additional new hire since our last meeting, and it is David Rodriguez, a police officer with our police department, and we welcome him to the team. If you see him, go ahead and give him a warm welcome. Thank you.
Welcome. Congratulations. Thank you very much for that, Christian. Any other reports?
I have attended my retirement to the the 8th. It will be my last day.
Parade, everything.
Yeah.
It wasn't intentional. Like my wife and I picked the date and didn't even think about it. So,
How many years?
this time 23 and a half, but if you add up consulting and when I worked as a water treatment operator for the city, I've been here 25 years and 1 month.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well deserved.
Enjoy it.
Now you get
I-
to enjoy the grandkids.
That's the plan.
And Tony has cotton candy.
And Barbie.
Yeah. Well, congratulations for that, and we appreciate everything you've done for the city.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
That's a light.
He's like so excited to get this meeting over because this is gonna be your last council meeting. Huh?
No, I haven't.
No, you have one in December.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will make the last one.
You won't call in sick that last council meeting?
Oh, no.
Any other department reports?
Great show.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Beat
Council,
that one, Mike.
can't top that one. I will tell you that, our facility, improvement projects and our, strategy meeting for our department intel or, technology, with the assistance of our, my coworkers are going, on track. And then the final is there's a, event, Santa Comes to Sector, December 2nd at the U.S. Border Patrol from 12 to 4. It's open to all family. And, there's a good chance there's a bearded subject that will be showing up there to hand out gifts. So that's what the rumor is. I just wanted to put that out there. So.
Thank you very much for that.
Yes, sir.
Other department reports? Seeing none, moving on to city managers.
Nothing from me this evening, Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay. How about, mayor, council member reports? We'll start on to my right. Ms. Mendoza.
I have nothing to report since the last meeting and just wanted to say, first off, good luck to Mayor Burnworth on her chef and cooking endeavors this weekend and her competition with the mayor of the city of El Centro, I believe.
Earl's gonna win.
And also just to wish everyone's city staff and especially enjoy your time off with your families for your Thanksgiving holiday, and also a happy Thanksgiving to my fellow council members.
I went to cattle call. Cattle call is always fun. Thank you to our Brawley, city of Brawley. They always know how to throw a cattle call party. What else? I attended El Centro, our neighbors, State of the City address. Mayor Pro Tem and his wonderful wife were also there, so it was exciting to see the things that were coming to El Centro. I'm secretly jealous. I want those businesses to come to Imperial, but I'm excited for the city of El Centro as well. I also attended Teamsters Local 542. They had a meeting with their union in regards to AB 918 and what that means for the local Teamsters union. So that was interesting to hear everybody's take on the healthcare district that will come to fruition sooner than later, hopefully. And yeah. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope you guys enjoy it. Eat lots of turkey or ham or whatever it is you eat, tamales, pozole, whatever.
A little bit of
A
everything.
little bit of everything. Just everything in moderation.
That's it. Thank you. Mr. Tucker?
Except for the one question is, when is the road gonna open up to 86 behind Quick Quick?
We're working on it. There was asphalt issue, a repair we last week. And they're gonna give us a schedule, by the end of this week. So, we'll let you know. The recommendation is to grind at least 2 inches of it and then
Bad, huh?
Yeah, it's bad.
Well, good. I'm glad we caught it now.
Yeah.
Than later.
Mhm.
Oh, appreciate that.
All right, thank you. That's it.
All right. And for me, like I said, I also attended State of the City for the city of El Centro. That was nice to see what other cities are doing. Good to see the turnout, but supporting our counterparts in different boundaries. What else? What else did we do? I think that's been pretty much it. I didn't go to cattle call. I stayed home. There's too many people, too much traffic, too many crazies out there. But other than that, wish everybody a good Thanksgiving. Be safe out there if you go out of town. Please drive safely and spend time with your families. And with that, any other questions, comments, concerns? No? I'll adjourn this meeting at 7:46.